WOKB, Winter Garden, Orlando.
Welcome to Real Family Talk with your host, Jay Real, where we talk about real issues facing us today. Enjoy the show. Real Family Talk. Hello, family. Hello, how you doing? Oh, it's another Tuesday night at 9 p.m., so another Real Family Talk show. Oh, I'm always excited on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. I hope you had a good day today. I had another great day. Every day is a great day, actually. I try not to get disappointed about what didn't go and did go my way. Regardless, it's going to be a good day. So tonight, let me welcome my guests this evening. We have in the building with us Miss McCray. How you doing tonight, Miss McCray?
I'm well. How you doing?
Oh, I told you I'm doing good, Miss McCray. Right. I'm doing good. Mr. Micah King's in the house tonight. How you doing, Mr. King?
I'm doing great. Ready to hear some of your rants today and see what you got up your sleeve for the day. Hopefully it's nothing about Obama.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that rant in a moment. And join us on the board. We have Jeremy. Jeremy's on the board today. He's apparently talking to a caller, so we'll get back to Jeremy in a moment. But Jeremy, glad you're here. And in the house tonight, she's not gonna get on the radios with us tonight, but Shay is back in the building. How you doing over there, Shay? So before we get started with the show tonight, I just want to give a quick shout out to the Wheat family. So shout out to the Wheat family out there.
Hey, Wheat family.
Hey, how y'all doing there, Wheat family? And they know who they are. So how y'all doing, Wheat family? So tonight's show, we're going to get into, we'll mention a couple of local things. As a matter of fact, let me get that out the way, because I know that y'all don't really have a whole lot to say about this, but I'm going to throw it on out there. Of course, as we all know, George Zimmerman last Friday, they set his bail, $150,000. Sometime in the evening on, I believe, Sunday, he got out and now free on bail. Of course, he is under 24/7 monitors, and we don't know where he is. But, of course, the law enforcement is, of course, keeping tabs. So real quick, there's personally, this is a part of the process. This is what's supposed to happen. So I personally have no issues with any of this. I know that there are individuals out there that kind of feel differently from me. I was going to just open the floor up real quick for everybody that's in the building. Did you guys want to add any comments on his bail, how much the bail was, the fact that he's out now? Any comments?
I mean, we could talk about it all day. Excuse me. And I'm sure there are cases across this country where the defendant is still sitting in jail, and this case is just going to be different all around. I don't expect anything to go as we hope or as we would plan to go. It's just we'll have to take it day by day.
My only question is, did you hear about the chief, the Sanford chief, trying to get back in office, and they having a parade for him and all of that? Like, what is that about? That's
well, you know what happened is he submitted his resignation,
right?
And then the city commission, basically, it seemed like, I guess, they were set to accept his resignation, and then last minute when they had the meeting, it was a 3-2 vote in favor of keeping him on, or at least not accepting his resignation. We'll say that, at least at this point, at this moment in time. Anyway, that's kind of the way they're phrasing it. So now they're not saying later on they won't accept it, but at least at this moment in time, they refuse to accept it because they say he has shown exemplary service. Sure, with the exception of what we think of opinion in this particular case. Over the years, I guess they say he's shown exemplary service, and so they refuse to just push him to the side due to nothing more than what would seem to be public pressure, and sort of to save face is their opinion on the matter. So, I mean, that's where we're at. I mean, again, hey.
I don't understand that one. Like, how you going to put in your resignation? I mean, I understand the people wanting him back because I guess he did a good job, but I feel like it's going a little overboard now with people just trying to do too much. Because now I heard they're doing a march for Zimmerman, also a stand your grounds march, trying to for the supporters of Zimmerman, his neighbor, and other people who supports the right to bear arms, trying to do a march for Zimmerman. What do you think about that, Miss Phyllis?
Out of control. Out of control. And you're going to have those people who are for gun policies and those gun laws. But at this point, just how they're saying that the side for Trayvon needs to calm down and cool off and let the court do its job, I don't think this is going to be helpful if these people do a march for Zimmerman either.
I don't even understand why you would do a march. Like, all of a sudden, well, since they did a march for Trayvon, we're going to do a march for Zimmerman and the right to bear arms and the stand your ground law. Like, if it's a law, why are you doing a march for a law that's already in place? That makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Well, I think what's happening is, gun ownership is a very hot topic, and especially in the state of Florida. But across the country, it's a hot topic. And so what you're seeing is not so much I think you're still not seeing so much a march for Zimmerman per se, but since he, like everything else, Trayvon seems to be the poster boy for marches these days. So people are using George Zimmerman, those that support these types of gun laws, as a poster boy to support these laws. And so, it's kind of like you got to take the quote unquote good with the bad, if you will. We certainly have no problem with people marching for Trayvon Martin and in support of seeing justice on his behalf. And so the quote unquote bad, as we see it, or as at least is perceived by certain members of society right now, is that we got to watch out and wait this thing out for those people who believe George Zimmerman has a right to have at least protected himself, assuming that is what ultimately is found out to be done. I see we have a caller. How you doing there?
I'm good.
Oh, that's good. And your name tonight, caller?
It's Jane.
Jane?
Yes.
All right, James. You got a comment to add to the show tonight? Hello? Did Jane leave there? Okay.
Jane?
Well, Jane, well, thanks for calling. Next time, Jane, at least talk to us, Jane. I promise we don't bite.
Sometime.
We're all smiling in here, Jane. You can call, too. Remember, 407-894-1680, 407-894-1680. So, yeah, like I said, it's just part of the game, if you will. You're going to see those people who step out there and say George had a right, or this law is valid, is really what they're trying to say, because there's an attack against the law right now. Mm-hmm. So they just want to say this law is valid and let's stop preaching against the law, because the law isn't the issue here. The issue is George Zimmerman. And I think that's what people are at least trying to acknowledge. Good, bad, indifferent. I certainly, that's the point, and you have both sides. So you got to take the good with the bad. That's what I think. So you guys have any more comments on that? Everybody, Miss Monica just got in the building. How you doing, Miss Monica?
Hey, how you doing?
Just announce her tardiness.
Yes. She's gonna slide in there. So, all right, we got another caller. Caller, how you doing?
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. And your name, sir?
My name is Minister Brown, and I'm calling in reference to the disparity and the two differences about Zimmerman and Trayvon. Well, I'm opinionated that he went a little too far in protecting his rights, but all I see is this just another political ploy by the NRA in Florida to try to muster votes, and everything is being so politicized rather than justice being served from the other end. So I would say that we have a bigger obligation to see justice served and to stand up and vote and make sure we are in the voting process always, because they think we are inept when it comes to standing up voting for issues that we believe in.
All right. We thank you for calling, Minister Brown.
I also believe what Minister Brown is saying, but I also believe that it's a front man. It's really a deploy to take your mind off of what's really going on in the world. I mean, it's really just too much it's too much energy put toward this Trayvon and Zimmerman case with so many other issues that's going on in the world. I definitely believe in standing up and voting, but there's so many people in the shadows that really pull the strings that's above the presidency. And we really give the president and the government too much power when people really have the power. That's just my opinion. Brother Smith has just entered in the room. Thank you, Brother Smith, for joining us also.
What's going on, y'all?
Well, we got another caller, I see. All right. How you doing, caller?
Yes,
Yes. And your name tonight?
it's Jane. This is Jane calling back. I got disconnected.
Oh, okay. All right. Glad you
Sorry.
called back, Jane. Go ahead. What was your comment?
Well, I want to comment on the whole parade thing that you guys are talking about, the Zimmerman parade.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, well, honestly, I'm kind of like, I think it's like kind of drawn out. Well, I understand like everybody listens to the news and all that, but I honestly think it's drawn out. And the whole parade thing, I think that's like ludicrous. Like, who would support him? But I guess it's more like a, a racial thing. Because of course, if the man was black, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have got set free. But I don't know.
All right. We thank you for calling, Jane. We appreciate that comment. Did anybody else? I have a question. I wasn't quite going here tonight, but since we're here, here's another question. What do y'all think about? Of course, we all know the Black Panther Party had basically put out the bounty on George Zimmerman.
Supposedly.
Not supposedly, they did. They did. There's no question about that. They put out the bounty. But here's my question. Of course, so they put out the bounty. Essentially, now, to put out a bounty on an individual is, by definition, illegal. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yeah.
But, of course, it has not been addressed from a legal standpoint. Okay? So essentially, what that's going to lead us to is now what happens when the white supremacist group puts out a bounty on somebody. Mm-hmm. Okay? Of course, we'd be up in an uproar, right? Especially if it was a black man they did it to.
Right.
But would we also be crying for justice, and looking for some type of, law enforcement agency to step in and do something to these individuals? Or have we lost our right to speak against that now, being that we are at least, I'll say from a law point of view, at least accepting the fact that the Black Panther Party did this, or the new Black Panther Party, I should say, did this without any repercussions, essentially.
I don't think we're accepting it at all. Most folks, black folks, white folks, anybody who has some common sense has dismissed this as taking it too far. This is ridiculous. Really? Black Panther Party, sit down. And it's out of control. And even from all the marches they've said, it's all about behavior and being non-violent, non-confrontational, because it's only just going to compound the situation even more. So a non-violent approach to this whole movement has been the main statement as far as I can see with African Americans.
So then you support the idea of them being brought up on charges and pursuing some kind of legal action against them?
Yeah, because it's a real threat.
Okay.
It's a threat. And they put a price on it, too.
All right. So it's a shame that it hasn't been done, essentially, is what you're saying.
And I think because this is such a touchy subject anyway, nobody wants to touch it. I don't think they know who to really point fingers to. They say, okay, the new Black Panther Party, but who? Who would they put up on charges? You know what I mean?
That's why I don't believe it's a real bounty. I mean, like you said, this new Black Panther Party. What's a new Black Panther Party? Like, are you serious? Like, I think that's really just trying to tear down the name of the original Black Panther Party, as they have been trying to do for years.
These individuals.
These the same individuals that were stopping people from going to the polls up in New York. They were supposed to be chasing people with bats and poles.
Is that my point? Is they're not some random group that nobody's ever heard of. They've been in existence for some time, and and whether or not we take them seriously, they certainly take themselves seriously enough to go around the country and promote their agenda. As a matter of fact, even President Obama took the stage with a couple of these individuals back when he was campaigning. So to say that these are just some clown dudes, spouting, misinformation, I think is doing a injustice to at least the movement that they're trying to create, whether or not you support that movement. Because if the president can acknowledge their existence, at some point in time, certainly, or I guess at that time, if candidate Obama can acknowledge their existence, certainly there are some circles where some people lend some kind of respect to the movement that they've done. Certainly, maybe not in this situation, but as an organization, I think you're doing them an injustice to say that the organization is just some clown organization that nobody thinks about. They certainly have a movement somewhere, supported or not.
Then get a new name, not the new Black Panther Party. Like, what? That's like, I can't respect that. I understand if that's what your movement is supposed to be, but obviously your morals are different from the old Black Panther Party. So won't you get you a new name, the Black Cougars or something to that nature? Like, the new Black Panther Party? Like, come on. That's just basically trying to tear down the name. That's like, the new Ultimate Warrior. And he's gay. Like, no, that just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't go with the old Black Panther Party. The morals are different. What they stand for is supposedly different. And that's my whole thing. That's what I'm trying to basically say, that they're just trying to tear down the name continually, tear down the name of Brother Huey P. Newton and the rest of the Black Panther Party that originally started that.
All right. I'll keep going. It doesn't seem like anybody else want to comment on that. One more thing as it relates to this. I forgot about a text that I got, and I kind of had to laugh when I saw this text. So I got a text, and it tells me that apparently the Koch brothers, who are the gentlemen who sponsor or I guess who own Coca-Cola, or at least have a very strong interest in it anyway, is apparently supporting or giving funds to George Zimmerman's defense. And so as we do as Black people, there's a text going around to support a boycott of different products that they make, so that, of course, you are not supporting George Zimmerman. What do y'all think about that? I'm not even going to go through the products, because, again, I had to laugh when I saw this. I just think it's kind of funny. We always want to go to some kind of, well, let's hit him in the pocket.
That's the only way to hurt him. That's the only way to hurt him.
Let's hit him in the pocket. Like these are not, and Coke wasn't one of the things named in the email, but these are products these are everyday things that you're going to use. But, I mean, how effective, really, is hitting them in the pocket when, come on.
So, isn't Coke a $1 billion company or so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't think we're going to hurt them. I'm just, it's going to be real. If you don't buy your $2 Coke today, I don't think Zimmerman's going to be hurting that bad.
Man, I was going to say, and most folks, the stuff we do on a regular basis, we're not even willing to give it up. There's a whole lot of people, they go have their Coke.
And not even, and a lot of the other products are paper products, toilet tissue, paper towels. I mean, really? I mean, sure, you can buy a great value instead of, Brawny.
I'm just going to sell that.
But I'm just saying, come on.
I'm just selling that. I ain't going without my paper roll. You
might get great value, but you're going to have a mess.
we gotta do better when it comes to these kind of things. That's what I think. I think we gotta do better and find better ways to address these types of issues. But because as a collective, I don't think we can really support these ideas. All right, but we went on a little longer than this. That's okay. Remember, you can join the show 407-894-1680, 407-894-1680. And so now, before I move on, like I said, I got to get this off my chest. So this weekend,
prepare yourself.
This weekend, I'm having a conversation. With someone, and I'm not going to mention who it was, but they're having a conversation, asking me about politics. Now, everybody on this show certainly knows where I am politically. There's no surprise there. So I'm having a conversation with this individual who also knows this. we're having a conversation, and then the moment that this individual has no comeback to my response from an issue perspective, which is what we were talking about issues, the first thing they tell me is, see, that's what blacks do. Some blacks do. You see, they just like to argue the other side so they can feel like they're not, I guess, like we're somehow not being racist by trying to support the other side.
And this was a black person.
You know, it was a black person.
Because a white man wouldn't say that. A white man couldn't say, see, that's what black people do.
No, this is a black person.
I don't think they use the term black person. Yeah.
But
or have the courage to say
basically,
your face.
my point is,
Behind your back now.
my point is, because they couldn't respond to me from an issue perspective, they responded me to from an emotional perspective to tell me that clearly I'm wrong simply because I want to support the white man's ideas and knock down the black man's ideas. Just because I guess I don't know if I'm confused, if I'm selling out, or whatever their perceived nature of what I am, simply because I'm not on the,
Confused.
Selling out.
supporting, I guess, the accepted mantra of black people. I guess, and so my question to y'all is why do we always run to this emotional state when it seems like we can't convince what I guess is another black person that they're supposed to be on some specific train? Why is it that we're automatically now some kind of sellout, some kind of Uncle Tom, some kind of wannabe, some kind of I don't know. Why? That's my question to y'all, and I know I'm in a room full of people who probably say, well, you kind of are. So tell me, room full of people that probably thinks that I am, and audience too, 407-894-1680. Why is it's some emotional response? Why can't we disagree from an ideological point of view and still be as black as the next person? If you know me, and anybody that knows J Real is 100% supportive of all things black.
Except Obama.
But
Obama.
you are a Republican.
First of all, I'm an independent.
Okay.
But
Independent Republican.
Right.
But why is it that we always resort to these tactics? That's the question. That is the question. Somebody help me out. Why is that?
I believe this. As we have not historically, we've stuck together on different things politically, economically, historically, civil rights, what have you. And I don't think we've come as far as we think we come, obviously, with the Trayvon Martin case. And especially if you're speaking of someone who's been around a while and seen a lot, they still feel, most people still feel that we still need to be together on things to get anywhere. Because although we are a strong minority, we are going to be the lesser minority. And politically, it's going to get worse, as the Hispanic population is getting bigger and bigger. And as you can see now with the candidates and everything, they're going to keep gravitating toward the Hispanic community. So I think a lot of people feel like we still need to be together 100% to really move forward and do anything. What do you got to say about that, brother?
Well, I think, well, number one, I think it's silly to say that we're some kind of monolithic society that should always move together, because we aren't. And clearly we aren't a monolithic society, because if we were, we'd be a lot further along than we are today. But to be separated from an ideological standpoint in the topic of the choice was government, I don't think is somehow detrimental and adding to the economic impact that we have, which is really where we're lacking. That has nothing to do with some kind of government ideological point of view. That is something separate that is not even really, in my opinion, affected by what government does. Because if we were economically together, it wouldn't matter what the government does. We'd still be okay. Because truly speaking, individuals that are successful because of the things that they've done, not because of what government has allowed them to do.
That's true.
And so as a society, if we were working together, we'd all be certainly a lot further along than we are with our kind of crabs in a bucket mentality that we generally have, which again has nothing to do with where we are from a government point. So to me, that doesn't explain why I am the Uncle Tom in the room, if you will. Do we have a call? Is that what you're trying to tell me, sir? How you doing, caller?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. And your name?
Keisha.
All right, Keisha, and your comment tonight?
Yes, I just want to comment on the question that he asked, why do people get offended when you take sides of the white man versus the black man? And I just want to say that I think it's basically like black people, they always use that. Like I know sometimes in my relationships with people, they say that because I speak more quote unquote proper, so they say, oh, you talk white and stuff like that. So I guess it's kind of reflected upon that. But I just want to say that if people are if people like use color to define the way that you view things or the way that you speak, then that just shows that they're ignorant. They don't have the mental capability to grasp whatever you're saying or your opinion simply because they're not educated. Because any person that's educated, they're not going to see color. They're not going to see whether you're taking sides of black and white. They're just going to see that you have an opinion. So I think that maybe you should just change your surrounding of people if they're getting offended by you representing something that you feel based on them saying that, oh, you're taking a white man or black man's side.
Keisha, I appreciate it. Keisha, that means I'm going to have to fire everybody that's on the show tonight.
I was about to say that. You got to get rid of the whole panel.
So do you mind joining me in the studio next week, Keisha?
I just said that he is our president. Yeah.
But thank you for your call, Keisha. I appreciate that comment.
We got to say goodnight.
Keisha told me I need to get rid of y'all. That's what Keisha told me.
We got to go. We got to go.
But here, kind of piggyback on this idea. So are we to say that now every black man that is in power is obviously in the right, and so we should always agree with him? I mean, is that what we're suggesting here?
No.
Because essentially you're telling me because I have a ideological difference in what our current president says, who just so happens to be black, and I'd still disagree if he was a white man, so it really doesn't matter to me. But because he's a black man in charge, so now, is the next black man or are we to always agree with our black CEO who may be damaging the company, but because he's black, we need to support him? I mean, what are we saying? We're supposed to just blindly support blacks in power? Is that what we're suggesting here? I'm
saying that we should all have a mind of our own. I'm saying that if we see something wrong, we should stand up, because in Micah King's opinion, even the person, there's a set of people that's above the presidency that even he answers to, that sets the hidden agenda that he just puts in play. Now, what we have is somebody who you see that you're supposed to respect is in power, but he's still answering to somebody that he's putting into agenda that they're telling him what to do, what to sign off, and things to that nature. So if you see something wrong, Brother Real, and you see something that you don't like, I'm agreeing with you to what you're saying, but you still kicking the brother while he down. That's all I'm trying to say.
I think I'm of course going to always go with, if the person is wrong, then I will call them out if they're wrong, whether they are black or white. I think that the matter of the fact is that he is our president, so we still should respect him as if he is, as he is our president, and not to necessarily say negative things about our president, because that is our president.
Real quick though, and I don't mean to cut you off, but in my comments and even in my question, I'm not putting him down. Yeah, I'm asking. When did I put him down? I just said that I disagree with his ideas. How is that putting him down? That's a disagreement in that's a disagreement of ideas.
Called the man a dictator.
Oh wow, preach.
Uh-oh.
I mean, it's like, what, really? It's like it's something bitter behind it.
Yes, it is.
There's nothing bitter. I actually, you know what? In all honesty, as a individual, I think he's great. As an individual, he's probably a great guy to hang out with. But what I'm saying is,
I want to chill.
From an ideological point of view, I disagree with him, and so because I disagree with him ideologically, I'm getting all of this backlash. And I'm just and if you watch TV, there's a lot of black conservatives out there that experience the same things. And we look at them the same way. Even the black liberal liberals that are that have that kind of platform to speak, they do the same thing. They all basically say, you know, you're a black conservative. You obviously somehow have some kind of mental anguish or bitterness, as Miss McCrae is telling me that apparently that I have. I guess against black people, I have some kind of secret underlying bitterness that I missed.
Sounds like you're mad, son. Sounds like you're
mad. But clearly to me, I'm not bitter. I just disagree. I just have a fundamental disagreement from an ideological standpoint, and it's as simple as that. I think he's a great guy.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I think he's probably a nicer guy to hang out with than Mitt Romney. But ideologically, we just differ. And that's as simple as that. It has nothing to do with him personally. He seems like a great dude.
Say something nice about Obama.
I just did. I said he's a great guy. I said if
That's
I had to hang out with a President Obama
He's
would
black.
be the top of my list. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. He's a great guy, family man, loves his wife, all that.
I still feel that both of them still have the same agenda, regardless of where it's going. You know, the president has no power at all. He's just the speaker
That's
of your
cool.
nation.
But that why am I Uncle Tom? That's the question at hand, though.
The question, the reason that you Uncle Tom, brother, is because your skin is the same color as his skin, and you going against him. That's the bottom line.
Well, tell me this: how come when Al Sharpton ran for president, we weren't all on the Al Sharpton bandwagon?
Because Al Sharpton had a Jerry curl at the time.
Right.
And we not putting nobody in office who got a curl.
I think he had a perm.
He had a perm.
He had a perm, but he was black. So
He had
that's
an
the
afro.
point.
It was something to that
You
nature.
telling me
got
I
a
need
perm.
to?
You
I
don't
need
get a
to
turn.
I supported him in his perm.
You telling me I need to support President Obama because he's black? So my
Because
question
he's black,
is,
he's
how come we didn't
6'6",
support
he married
Al
to a beautiful
Sharpton?
woman,
How come we didn't support
two
Jesse
beautiful
Jackson? You know,
I
these are
supported
black
Jesse.
individuals that were running for president. What's the difference?
I gave Jesse
Tell me,
thesaurus.
answer that.
It could be because he had a
407-894-1680. 407-894. What
He
is
had
the
a
difference?
better chance of winning, and he did, versus the other ones that did run.
Okay, so if you are a good chance of winning, then we'll support you. But if we know you're not gonna win, then we're just gonna
And
know what,
your
J-Real?
history.
and cause
And
you
your
to
history.
support.
I'm gonna tell you like this: you were not an Uncle Tom because we forget the fact that Obama's half white. Let's just put that out there. Let's just put that out there.
But
so
you-
either way,
but with
either
his
way,
name,
you neutral.
Barack Obama. That has nothing to do with white. Barack Obama. That,
What color was his daddy?
We don't know. We don't need to know his birth certificate. But we still voted for the brother. Okay? We still voted for the brother.
Don't even start with that birth certificate.
Exactly. I can go days on
I don't
Obama.
think you know Uncle Tom. I think you're a little confused, but I don't think
That's
you know.
all. Just a sellout. That's all.
We're just messing with you,
You're
Jimmy.
a little confused.
We just messing. I do believe that you're a
You just have some
Republican.
very strong
Actually, I think you're
opinions
a
about
Demopublican.
I do believe with your ideological
Republican.
stance on a lot of things, it's not independent. You are a Republican. You side more with the fact that you're thinking that Romney will do a better job. We have a caller.
Yeah, go ahead.
The fact that you think that Romney will do a better job than what the president is currently doing
Yes.
scares me.
And they both have the same agenda.
That terrifies me, actually.
It really does. That's all. But we love you, J. Real.
Oh, appreciate that. Caller, are you there?
You're a dog.
Yes, but I didn't get the beginning of the conversation. I just heard it sounded like a black man was blasting Obama, and I was just wondering
That's what it was.
if you thought he's a lesser candidate, or you think Romney is a better candidate than President Obama, and why?
Well, as I've said on the show before, yeah. Well, it's an ideological thing, really.
What does ideological mean?
And it just means the ideas. So I'll give you just a real quick basic premise. A lot of what President Obama says has to do with empowering government to be able to change the lives of people. And just on that fact alone, one, I'm very critical of government. I think government is not the solution. I think the government is the problem. And so being that his core philosophy is that the government can somehow empower people out of their situations into some kind of better situation, me and him, we're not going to be able to agree and really get to a conversation because I can't see that. I don't see any evidence in terms of past that really supports the idea that somehow the government is going to bring us forward to some kind of utopia that we can't achieve on our own. And I'll leave it at that fundamental basis. There's other things, but that's the fundamental basis.
And you think Romney could do a better job?
Well, what I believe that Romney is not going to do is think government is going to solve and bring us to some kind of utopia. And so on that fact alone, whether or not I agree with everything he says, I would rather give him an opportunity because I know that he is not going to believe government is what's going to bring people into some kind of utopia. And so yes, that's a fundamental idea that for me is very important.
And how do you know he's not going to do it? Based on what he said? And if you just said in your own words that you don't trust government, why would you trust him?
Well, you got to vote for somebody, right? Because you got to vote. So you got to pick a candidate regardless.
Right. So then why not go with Obama? Oh, because you want to give him a chance, and you've already seen what Obama has not done. Has he done everything that he said he would do?
Has he done everything he said he would do?
Yeah.
In some senses,
that he said he would do.
Well, see, here's where we're going to differ because while I'll agree he has done some said he was going to do. Number one, I didn't vote for him the first time, so the fact that he did accomplish some of the things that he said he was going to do even scares me. What's going to happen in 4 years and what is he going to do then? That's so that we're different. We're different. We're not going to come to the same page on that one.
Okay. All right then. Okay, thanks.
No problem.
Well, you know what? Let me throw I guess an Allen wrench. I don't know what the term is, the phrase is, but there is another person that I'm not endorsing this candidate. I'm just stating. But there is another candidate that has been gaining a lot of popularity, Mr. Ron Paul. So there's other people that are maybe not as popular. Of course, no one really pays too much attention to the independent candidates all too much in the media. But there are other theories and ideas in regards to how government should be run. Why do you not go for him, but you go more for the Republican views?
Well, you have to remember, and I know, but Romney is actually not Romney. Ron Paul is actually running as a Republican candidate. So he's not independent. I know that there has been talk that because ultimately it would seem anyway, Mitt Romney will be the eventual Republican nominee. So there has been talk that once that happens, Ron Paul may run as a independent. But in this particular election, my opinion only, to me, there needs to be a transition. And so even though you're right, Ron Paul has some ideas. One, fundamentally, I really can't get with an 80-year-old guy being president. I just think that's kind of silly. But
there's a little bit of ageism.
Yeah, a little bit. I thought it was silly for McCain to run, 4 years ago too. So, So there's some little issues that I have, little prejudices that I have, but too, he's not a serious candidate in the sense that he's going to really be able to, garner enough votes to really challenge President Obama. And so, since I would prefer that President Obama exit to the left, stage left, as they say, or stage right. I'm sorry. I would rather support and at least throw a vote towards Mitt Romney. That way, at least he has another vote. More. That might help President Obama exit stage right. So that's where I come from. That. But you're right. Ron Paul has a lot of progressive ideas, a lot of different things, some great things to say. But one, he's really not a legitimate candidate in terms of winning. And two, he's actually trying to be a Republican candidate at the moment. So ultimately, he's going to lose that fight, and so we'll see what happens. But
I disagree with everybody, so I'll just keep my comments to myself. Like I say, both of them got the same hidden agenda from the same people in the shadows that every president has to answer to, from Prescott. Prescott Bush. I'm sorry, I was finna get on to the Bushes. But from Ronald Reagan down to every president, they answer to the same people in the shadows who give them the agenda to give to us. Same old, same old. Who cares who you vote for until the people stand up and throw the government out? it's gonna be the same old, same old. Next subject.
But that's kind of what Jay Real is talking about. He said he don't trust the government. We need to overhaul.
Exactly. That's why I say I understand what he's saying, because basically what he's saying is correct. But Mick, Obama, all of them, they go. It's the same thing.
Mick gonna do the same.
He's gonna do the same thing. If you the president, you have to answer to these people that's in the shadow.
He is gonna do the same thing. And if that little bit of what you're talking about, how he won't use government as a scorekeeper like Obama is doing, that little piece that you like that he's doing,
which is a big piece though.
But everything else, right? Everything else he gonna do, and everything else that he stands for is gonna be, when it lines up next to what Obama does and what he has done, it's gonna be the same thing, if not worse.
The biggest difference is going to be the use of government in terms of creating a utopia. That's going to be the biggest difference. You're right. There are going to be a lot of similarities, but the biggest difference is using government as a utopia. And President Obama has gone on record to say that he thinks government needs to be used. So it will be different. But we got another caller. Caller, how you doing?
Yes, I heard the Republicans don't even trust the one that's running for president.
I'm sorry?
I heard these people was against him.
Well, as always, when at the beginning of a primary, there's always these different fighting going on, but at the end of the day, come the Republican convention, every Republican in the country is gonna pretty much stand up and support Mitt Romney, as they're slowly beginning to do now. And so there's infighting. Hillary and Barack Obama did the same thing. So
But I'd rather take a chance on him than him, because when they say anything when they get in the chair, and then when they get in the chair, he go left on you.
That's right.
I don't trust him. I will vote for the president again and again and again.
Preach.
And again.
Say, girl, and again and again.
The one you looking out for, he don't care nothing about you.
He don't.
He don't say nothing about black folks. He don't.
He don't say nothing.
So I'm just telling you, you better wake up, baby.
Better wake up.
Go, mother. Baby.
Tell him. Thank you for your call, man.
Thank you.
We appreciate
Go
your
out
call.
and vote.
We appreciate your call.
Like I said,
I'm going to say this.
And she hit you with a number.
Here's what I'm thinking.
I'm going to say this. I haven't heard President Obama say it about black people either. But we will move on from that topic.
Yes, we shall. Let's move on to the next topic.
But you had a last comment you wanted to make.
I was just thinking your concern was the using government as a utopia, but you also have the other side of the coin of using government as a separator. Or as the reality, and the reality is that there is a significant difference between the upper class, middle class, and lower class, and the working class. And if he could potentially do that.
Who can potentially do what?
Mitt Romney
could
potentially use government as a separator rather than as anything else. And so if he doesn't see any difference between it, and he has his own agendas, and his lobbyists have their own agendas,
and that's what it boils down
have
to.
Their own agendas. If he does not feel the compassion for the people, then the people don't have a chance.
And here's what I'll say to that. This is my last comment, and we'll move on. We got about 15 minutes left. But I think it is the third last comment. But that's okay. That's okay. That's why they call it real family talk. But so here's a comment to that. The real separator, and I know that there's a lot of things that go into this. But truth be told, those that have the will, desire, drive to succeed in this country always succeed. And so the bottom line is, the only true separator is going to be your passion and will and desire to be whatever it is you want to be. Because if you have it, everybody that has it gets there. Sometimes it happens in a year. Sometimes it happens in 5 years. Sometimes it happens in 10 years. Sometimes it happens in 20. But if you have the desire, you can always get there. And that will not change regardless who's in office. And so the more the government is out of your way, the more you'll have when you get to that utopia, which can be achieved not through government, but through your own will, drive, and desire. And fundamentally, that is what separates the haves and the have-nots.
I thought it was they already had a rich mama and daddy, and that's how they got the. Because that's how the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers.
That's how Mr.
But
Romney
that, what is that?
his money.
But what is that? That is a small family of 15 or 20. The amount of people in this country who are successful, who are making $500, $700, $1 million a year, mostly come from small businesses. It doesn't really come from families who have passed down money from generation to generation to generation. So maybe that was Mr. Romney's issue, but that's not the point. The point is, you can get there with will and desire, because that's how most of the people in this country who have wealth, that's how they got there, through will and desire. Sure, they got some helping hands per se, so everybody gets a helping hand eventually in order to be successful, but again, that comes back to drive, will, desire, motivation. That's what gets you there. And then when you have that, and then when other people see that, they begin to want to be a part of that. They begin to want to contribute to that. And that helps you get to where you want to be. And fundamentally, that is the thing that separates the haves from the have-nots, because every single person that has achieved success has also achieved many, many failures. But it's not the failure that defines you. It's what you do after you fail that defines you. And so that's the fundamental difference. Bottom line, regardless of who's there, and no particular person in office is going to make that better. Certainly not by empowering the government to be able to take more from you. That's certainly not going to help you in that situation.
Well, hold on. Let me just get you for a second.
Oh, wow.
Well,
There's going to be no
the fourth last comment.
No, I got to say this.
407-894-1680. Obviously, Jeremy thinks I'm wrong.
I got to say this.
But if you think I'm wrong, too, or you think I'm right, let me know.
I got to say this. Now, to some degree, you are right. Bill Gates is Bill Gates because he had a vision and a dream. But Bill Gates still has somebody 10 prongs down the ladder from here who's still very successful. But he probably got there from, like you said, somebody had to help him. You don't know. It might have been a program, a community center back in the day when he was younger that he went to that didn't get shut down because somebody didn't close a budget for what particular year. All that stuff comes into play. I do agree with you. Your Bill Gateses, your Warren Buffetts, all those guys.
See, I'm not even talking about white people. I'm talking about black people that's successful here now.
I'm just using them as an examples. We talking about, quote unquote, those are quote unquote shot callers. But shot callers have underlings. From the chief of this particular department all the way down to the assistant chief to the one working in the cubicle doing all the real grunt work. That person, they might be a good success, but they may have got help from some program. Like I said, it could have been it could have been the Boys Club. It could have been the YMCA. It could have been whatever community thing that could be getting federal grant money or whatever the case may be. That person counts too. Are they a have or they a have not? How are we going to classify them?
What my point is I'm talking about has meaning success, and I'm not defining success as you're using Bill Gates, Warren Buffett as examples. I'm defining success as having, most people define success in terms of money. And so in terms of money, success to me is anybody that has achieved enough money to live the life that they choose to live. Okay. That is success.
I agree.
And so by that definition, again, if you have the will, the drive, the desire to move and succeed, that will be accomplished. And like I said, everybody's journey. So sometimes the journey is 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. But if you stay on the journey, if you stay on the path, okay, then you will get there.
But everybody, some people just need some help, and it might.
And I'm saying, people do get help,
right? But it might be a government program helping them, boosting them. Some mentor that works at that government program boosting them. Hey, don't quit, don't give up. I know you. I know they threw this roadblock, but keep going, keep pushing.
But that's not. But you're defining government help as by, let's say, participating
I'm not
in
saying,
Boys and Girls Club. To me, that's not government help.
But these things are funded. But some programs are funded by government money, and if they weren't funded there, that person wouldn't be in this particular person's path. That's what I'm saying. So you can't just say that doesn't have nothing to do with this person's success because they got the will to drive determination. Along the way, somebody was a mentor to them.
Well,
Now,
that,
you
that's
don't know where that
fine, but
mental
that
come
still
from.
has to do with will to drive and determination, because a lot of kids go through Boys and Girls Club, but that doesn't fundamentally lead to success.
No,
that's just
but-
going to Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah,
That's my
but
point.
it leads to success for some people, is what I'm saying. And I just believe the whole adage: if it helps one, it's done its job. It's justified. If you help one, it's justified. If you go say, oh well, we can only help one, we don't need it.
Right. All
You know.
government is not bad.
Right. Exactly.
But I'm not here to say all government is bad. That's not what I said.
Majority of it is, though.
That's not what I said. I didn't say all government was bad. And what I said was that government alone will not help you achieve success. That's my point.
Agreed.
And
Yeah, I
so
mean, I agree with
and,
you
and,
there,
so, and
but-
that's what I said. You know, so going to Boys and Girls Club as a kid, you know, doesn't relate to that. My point is that, again, as I was stating earlier, you know, at least as I see his fundamental idea, it somehow leads from government helping to achieve some kind of utopia. And so my point again is that that is not possible. The utopia is achieved from will, drive, and determination of individuals, not any particular program that helps, because you can have programs funded by the government, but if as an individual you don't have the drive and desire to succeed, you're still not going to succeed. So it's not the government funded program that helped you, it's your will, desire, and drive to succeed that help you. And that's what I'm saying to you.
Okay, J-Real.
And that's my point to you.
I
Bottom
got
line.
a question from one of the callers.
Sure.
She says, God forbid that you get sick and have to go on Social Security, and Mitt Romney wins and cuts off Social Security. What are you going to do about that?
Okay, well,
If you end up in that
let's go back.
situation.
First of all, if you go back to the ideas about what Republicans had to say about Social Security, none of the things that they said had to do with cutting Social Security out. Here's what they said. They said, hold on. This is what they said. They said for a few individuals, those individuals that are getting ready to go on Social Security, they thought the plan should remain in place as it is today. Then they said for younger individuals, and I apologize for not being able to quote the specific age but I believe the cutoff is in the 50s somewhere. So for individuals 50 and over, or something in that range, they were saying let's leave the program as it is currently in its current form. But for individuals younger than that, let's switch the program from some government funded program in the sense that you have this designated money, and let's take some of that money, put it back into the market, and then let the market help create the fund, if you will, the retirement fund for individuals. That's their idea. So they're not saying get rid of Social Security. They're saying let's change the way that the funds are created and the funds accrue. And personally, I don't see a problem with this, because history has shown the individuals in this country that have wealth because of their participation in the stock market, whether that be buying individual stocks, whether that be buying mutual funds, whether that be buying some other kind of investment funds. That is how they achieve wealth and maintain wealth over a long period of time. And so it's ridiculous, in my opinion, to one, discourage people from building on that idea simply because, as we know, as history has shown us, that the stock market will rise and fall. As a matter of fact, that is the beauty of how the market works, because when it falls, that's when you go out and you get lots of whatever you can get, and then when it rises, that's when you see an accrue from what you purchased when it was low. So that's the beauty of it.
You on a
Okay, this about the
fire
7th,
today.
8th
Like,
closing comment.
Y'all
Don't
done started
go.
a new rant.
Don't go
A
on Social
new
Security
rant.
when the,
So
when the market is down.
hey, he said the caller asked the question, so I'm responding to the caller's question. That's what we're here for, y'all.
Don't go on
We're
Social
here to talk to the
Security.
people, so the people got a question. I'm
Father,
responding to the people's
Answer the
question.
question, brother.
But so to me, like I said, the idea is not ending Social Security. The idea is changing the way it accrues. And I'll say this: to me, an 18-year-old kid today in this country will do a whole lot better for themselves if you want to talk about Social Security. If they took approximately the $50 to $100 that they'd be contributing to Social Security for those that are currently in it, and took that same money and put it in some kind of a mutual fund, they see a whole lot better return when they get to 65 than contributing to Social Security. So the idea that we need to leave it as it is, to me, is ridiculous in the first place, and we need to look at changes, not only because there's better ways to do it, but just on the principle that, according to our own government, the way the program is designed now is designed to fail in approximately another 15 to 20 years. So if our own government says that the program is a failure, why are we sitting around supporting it, talking about let's keep it the way it is? It's failing, people. Wake up. Don't let them fool you. Go to the Social Security website. It has the date. It has the exact year in which they project it will fail as a program. Why are we sitting around complaining that they want to change it? Somebody need to change it because it's failing. Not according to what I'm saying. According to them, the government says it's failing. I mean, honestly, people.
You know it's serious.
This is the spin.
When his
this
voice
is the
goes
spin
up.
that I'm talking about.
When he get to that high voice, then you know. That's when you know it get when your voice go up an octave or two. It's serious.
It's like I said, as I've already stated, I'm not a big fan
He
of
bad.
government. But again, the program is a failing program. Something needs to be changed. So, one of the things that I say, you say that all of the Republicans' ideas are bad, and that's fine. You don't have to agree with their ideas. But here's the next question. Tell me the idea that the Democrats have. Exactly. That's my point.
Oh my God.
Because they haven't expressed it. All they've expressed is that Republican ideas are bad. And so, again, we know that the program's failing. At least the Republican Party has an idea. The Democrats, rather than tell us their idea, are just criticizing the Republicans. And so what that tells you is their basic idea is, we'll leave it the same as it is, and when the time comes, we'll just borrow more money to fund the program and put us more in debt. It's the only, the government is the only entity that we will accept in this country to just borrow with no sense of being able to pay it back. When we look at our own individual lives and we refuse to borrow anything to make our situations better because we don't want to go in debt, but we have no problem watching the government continue to go in debt to support people in this country.
Who they borrowing from, though?
It doesn't matter. They're borrowing money.
They're borrowing money from themselves, though.
If you borrow money, you got to eventually pay it back, brother.
If you created the federal bank, and I think it's the central bank, correct? I mean, though they put interest on the money, they still borrowing money from themselves.
Again, if you borrowing money, you have to pay it back eventually. That is the central idea. If you borrow money, it has to be paid back. And so you can't allow no entity, no government, no individual will ever survive by simply borrow. That's never going to work. At some point, you have to stop borrowing and start paying back, because eventually you're going to get to a point where you can't afford the payment. We know that in our own lives. We know that in the housing market, why people are losing their homes. We see this. We watch it on a daily basis, but we sit back and say, government, go ahead, borrow our way, give us more money, borrow. We got $1 trillion deficits for the last year. Obama then told us there's $1 trillion deficit for the next 10 years, I'm sorry. He said it. There's $1 trillion deficit for the next 10 years. But yet we are okay with we want to sit back and allow these programs to remain the way they are. I'm sorry. Well, we got to do something, people. We got to do something. If it's not Mitt Romney, I'm okay with that. But let's hear it from President Obama. Where is your change, brother? The change is not about Democrats, Republicans from Democrats. That's not the change, brother. The change is changing the way things happen. And the one thing he has not done is change the way things happen. And so for me, until he can at least show me that he can change the way things happen, I don't care, brother. It ain't working. It ain't working.
All of us.
And y'all can sit back and relax and be happy and merry, but I'm not. I'm going to do my part.
Please.
And that's all I'm saying.
J-Real 2016.
Right.
I'm getting my shirts and posters ready.
Yes.
I'm with you, brother.
It's going down.
Yes.
I'm with you.
I'm sorry.
Please continue tuning in.
Grassroots campaign. You already have first.
Whoever asked that question, you started him. You threw gasoline on the fire. Please continue to listen to. We love the support, though.
We do love the support. I don't know who asked that question,
This
but
real
we
family
do
talk at
appreciate
its
it.
best right here.
Yes, it is. This is what we talk about on a daily. As you see, he was talking about how he was talking to a brother earlier. He wasn't even on the radio. He was just talking. So This is what we deal with everyday people. Pray for us.
Pray for us.
1680, please pray for us, audience. The Lord.
Oh, hey, where we at, sir? How many minutes we got left
It's
here,
over.
sir? It ain't over. We got a few minutes.
I guess we could talk
We
about
do have a few minutes.
No, we can't talk about it.
Well, no, we can't talk. We were going to talk about the movie Think Like a Man, and so maybe we'll pick up maybe on this next week. I will say this about it though, real quick. If you haven't seen the movie, go see the movie.
see the movie.
You know,
Definitely.
I personally saw it last night. I tweeted last night. It's the best thing that I've seen since I saw Malcolm X. That was my opinion on it.
Wow.
Just
I
from
don't know about that one.
just from
That's some deep praise for a comic.
it is a good praise for a comic. It is. That's right. And I'm not saying that it was as profound as Malcolm X. Don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just suggesting
well
that
put together.
from
It
an
was.
enjoyable
It was a
point
great
of
film.
view. It kept you involved in the movie. There wasn't any lull points in the movie, and so it was just a great movie, entertaining, fun all the way throughout. And so definitely go out and support it. It was #1 over the weekend, which is an amazing feat considering that the next closest movie to it had over 1,000 theaters more than what Think Like a Man did, but yet still Think Like a Man still beat it out by over $10 million. So that's awesome. So let's support that movie, and hopefully we can get to talking about some of those topics next week.
Definitely try to learn something from the movie also, because a lot of people just go to the movie just to watch it because Kevin Hart is just hilarious. But, you know, in my opinion, I try to say figure out which character you are. Because I've seen a lot of female characters in that movie. That
And we'll
remind
talk
me.
about that next week too.
We'll talk about that next week.
So thank you again for
Taraji.
joining Real Family Talk here. As always, panel, I appreciate y'all being with me. Audience, I love you. Appreciate y'all listening to me tonight. Caller, thank you
J-Real
for letting me
2016.
to speak some truth this evening. To
Congress.
the truth as I perceive it, we'll say anyway, to the audience tonight. I appreciate you getting me going there. But remember, you can catch all these shows on YouTube. The YouTube channel is called Real Family Talk. Of course, we got our Facebook, Real Family Talk. And we also have our website. You can catch some of the blogs that I've done in the past. I haven't blogged in a while. I ran into some situations, but there are some old blogs there, realfamilytalk.weebly.com. So we thank y'all for being here. I guess we have a few more minutes. Anybody want a last minute comment here? I'll take it.
I was
comment.
about to say, I was
You
gonna
can wrap it up.
say
Wrap it up. Yeah.
We've been
Once again,
exhausted.
there was some primaries held today. Once again, I haven't checked what happened in New York,
He won.
but I believe Mitt Romney has swept once again all the primaries. So he's the really the last remaining real candidate in the race. So in the Republican race, anyway.
Sorry, Rainey.
So
Don't run, Paul.
okay, yeah. So he did. He won all 5 states today. So shout out to Mitt Romney. We'll see you next week, family. Love y'all.
WOKB, Winter Garden, Orlando.